Speed and Brown Shoe won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about Home Alone.
I'm doing the Home Alone face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam does that every time he puts aftershave on.
It's true.
His aftershave of choice? High karate. Now listen, you filthy animals. Before you come at us and say,
Yeah.
what are you guys doing? Oh my goodness. It's a Christmas movie, not a Thanksgiving
Jim, it's
movie.
the first week of November.
Yeah, I know. We know. It takes place during Christmas. But it came out on Thanksgiving. I saw it on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's a Thanksgiving movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will take that. That's fine. It did come out on November 16th. Take yourself back to 1990. On July 25th, Roseanne Barr infamously sings the Star-Spangled Banner extremely poorly, causing controversy.
Oh, yeah. Grabbed her crotch, spit.
She spit. It was
Magilla.
awful. August 2nd, the first ban of smoking in bars in the U.S. and possibly the world is passed in San Luis Obispo, California.
That's the beginning. I was so mad. I mean, I'm happy now because I don't smoke, but I smoked. Right. I mean, you could smoke anywhere back in the day.
Oh, it was incredible.
Smoking on airplanes. I could smoke in Toys R Us, man. Just walking around the aisle, smoking a cigarette. It was weird. It was weird.
Yeah.
You could smoke anywhere.
Yeah.
And now you can smoke nowhere.
No. November 13th, the first known web page is written.
Ugh. Yeah, the beginning of the end of society.
Yeah.
You know, smoking ban, good. Webpage bad, yin yang.
No, 3 days later, I don't think the first thing written about was Home Alone. Home Alone was released on November 16th and grossed $17 million its first weekend, just 6% of its total box office.
It was crazy, man. I was in, I think it was Sewickley, Pennsylvania, at one of my roommates' parents' houses for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I had a tradition of spending Thanksgiving with a friend of mine from high school. And so she and I would bounce around to different places every year, and we ended up at this place, and it was great. Beautiful house, you know, one of the, everybody's cooking. It was a very traditional kind of Thanksgiving thing. Yeah. And then so we all went out to the movies, didn't really know a lot about this. Oh. Saw Home Alone. Maybe we had a little enhancement, a little THC. But, oh, man, blew us away. So funny, so great.
It's such a great movie.
It was the closest thing to a live-action Looney Tunes, and I'm a huge Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes fan.
It was very well written, written by producer and writer John Hughes, who we've talked about extensively before.
Oh, yeah.
He obviously has written some of the most amazing comedies ever.
Probably the most iconic comedies of the Gen X generation.
Yeah, agreed. Like National Lampoon's Vacation, The European Vacation, Christmas Vacation.
He was our Billy Wilder.
He was Mr. Mom, 16 Candles, Weird Science, The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which we'll be covering later this month. And She's Having a Baby, Uncle Buck, all of this. He was
great
huge.
Movies.
John Hughes was huge.
I love Weirds. I can't wait till we do the Weird Science show.
Yes, one of my absolute favorite comedies.
Of all time, yeah.
Yeah. So John Hughes, he conceived of Home Alone while preparing to go on vacation. He said,
I was going away on vacation and making lists of everything I didn't want to forget. I thought, well, I'd better not forget my kids. Then I thought, what if I left my 10-year-old son at home? What would I do?
He then wrote 8 pages of notes and developed it into the screenplay that became Home Alone. Imagining that children... Very good job, by the way.
It was very close. I mean, if you've heard the commentary.
Oh, my God, John Hughes, he's incredible.
He sounds a lot like Gandalf.
Imagining that children are naturally most scared of robbers, Hughes also worked that aspect in the plot of the film.
Are they, though? Are we? Were we, as children? I guess so.
Naturally most scared of robbers?
I was more scared of Satan.
I was naturally more scared of weird things that didn't exist.
No, I was more scared. Robbers were way down on the list, man.
I didn't even realize they were
the Booger
a thing.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, Satan coming in and possessing me. That was a big one.
Satan and the Booger Man.
Yeah.
New comedy from ABC.
Satan and the Booger Man. Yeah, man. Bloody Mary.
Oh, Bloody
Robber's
Mary.
way down on the
Bloody
list.
Mary
Murder,
was really high on my list.
Well, I get it though.
I
Whatever.
was raised very Catholic, so like that was extremely frightening for me. So Home Alone was initially set to be financed and distributed by Warner Brothers. Hughes promised that he could make the movie for less than $10 million, considerably less than most feature film production budgets at the time. Since he had no idea if he would bring the movie in under $10 million, Hughes immediately went to 20th Century Fox before production to see if they would fund the project if Warner Brothers, believed him when he said he could make it for the projected budget.
Wait, what?
He went to them and said, I can make it for less than $10 million.
Right. Because he was like, it's one location.
I'm John Hughes.
Yeah.
Like, he had a billion movies that are amazing.
I don't get it, though. He's hamstringing himself, and he's...
Yes, and then he immediately turned around and went to a different studio, and because he knew that Warner Brothers would essentially pull the plug.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but this is really bad to do in Hollywood.
Well, okay. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
I see both sides, right? Yes.
Sure.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. You made a deal, but you're an artist. You want to make your movie.
Of course.
Studio heads are usually snakes.
Yeah.
And gross.
It easily could have been that he goes to Warner Brothers and says, thinks he could do it for 10, and then realizing as he's developing it more, he's like, there's no way.
I tend to kind of fall on the side of the artist rather than the corporation.
When I first read about this, I was like, oh, John Hughes, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, because that's probably how the corporations want to frame it.
Of course,
Warner
of course.
Brothers.
But thinking more and more, it's like, because this stuff takes time. And
he was kind of a dick, wasn't he? I mean, John Hughes.
He was. I mean, he was not, But he was a dick with 30 number one hits. Like
he earned his dickishness. I don't think anybody ever earns dickishness. I don't think that's...
No, he definitely is. It's a natural occurring
Being a
thing
dick is wrong, and I'm standing with it against dicks. But in terms of
statement.
dealing with studios, you're not dealing with normal people or a normal
True,
situation.
true.
They're
No,
going to
it's-
try to screw you much more than they're...
yes.
You're just trying to get a movie made.
Yeah,
They're trying to shave everything down.
John Hughes did not make this because he's like, I want to make $500 million. He made it because it was a good idea, and he knew it'd be entertaining.
Yes, because he loved torturing children. It was his biggest dream was
God.
to torture a child.
When they found those kids hidden in his basement,
Yeah, that was weird.
According to executive producer Scott Rosenfeld, a copy of the script was clandestinely delivered to Fox, bypassing the legal restrictions that would have otherwise prevented Fox from seeing it until the project was in turnaround. Early in production, the budget grew to $14.7 million. Warner Brothers demanded that he cut it by $1.2 million, so they were even giving him more.
Yeah, and that's a big... He half the budget, There's a half extra budget on there.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's a huge uptick, huge increase. The producers responded with a memo arguing that the budget could not be cut any further. Unconvinced, Warner Brothers shut down production the next day, but it quickly returned when Fox took up Hughes on his offer, and I'm guessing they just handed him a blank check and said, make the movie.
I think that was his... I think he used poor Warner Brothers to get the Fox deal.
Yeah, I mean, probably. The final budget ended up growing to $18 million.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of effects.
Which, granted, given what happened with the movie and the box office it got, that was nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And Warner Brothers lost out, unfortunately.
Well, that's the thing. Shut down production with difficult people who don't have a track record.
Right.
People that have a track record, don't flex your muscles because you're gonna lose because they have a bigger ego than you, and they can just walk away because they have the clout. It's like nobody's gonna be like, well, John Hughes, he left Warner Brothers, so nobody's ever gonna work with John Hughes again. Come on, Warner Brothers.
So John Hughes asked Patrick Reed Johnson to direct, but he was committed to directing Spaced Invaders.
Great choice, buddy. Nobody has ever heard of Patrick Reed Johnson.
He ended up working with John Hughes on Baby's Day Out. John Hughes really liked to collect people, and he worked with them a lot.
Well, Spaced Invaders.
Spaced Invaders starred Ariana Richards, the young girl from Jurassic Park.
Yeah?
It's literally the only name that was in it. I've never even heard of this movie. So
it's like a lot of little costumed...
Oh, yeah, I saw some pictures.
Yeah,
little
aliens. And I've seen it. It's dumb.
Okay.
It's not Home Alone.
Baby's Day Out was dumb.
Baby's Day Out was awful. I'm not convinced that Patrick Reed Johnson is as good as everyone says.
I don't think so either. So John Hughes turned to Chris Columbus, who had left National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation before shooting started because of a personality clash
His
with
parents are
Chevy Chase.
a-holes, by the way.
John Hughes's?
No, Chris
Columbus
Columbus, to name
yeah.
him Christopher Columbus.
Oh, yes.
I'd be like, come on, Mom, there's already a Christopher Columbus. And the fact that he became famous as a second Christopher Columbus.
Chris Columbus.
Okay. You don't think anybody on this Neenam Pitta and Santa Marina were calling him Chris?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm
You don't think the Queen of Spain was like, hey, Chris? Anyway, I'm just saying, what are the odds? Two amazing human beings named Chris Columbus.
Yeah,
One, a genocidal guy with really bad sense of direction, and the other one an explorer.
Not a fan of Chris Columbus.
Which one? Both?
Both. So he had left Christmas Vacation because of clashing with Chevy Chase, who Columbus said treated him like dirt.
Who hasn't clashed with Chevy Chase, by the way?
Chevy Chase is the most difficult person to work with.
How sad. Chevy Chase was so great. So great in the 70s.
Yes.
So great on Saturday Night Live. So great in Fletch. So great in Foul Play.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest mystery cop movies with he and Goldie Hawn and Billy Barty. Oh, it's so great.
Okay.
It's so great. And then they reunited for Some Kind of Wonderful with Charles Grodin. Another great movie. Anyway, it's just so sad.
Yeah.
What happened to him? I loved him so much.
Well, you can only be difficult for so long, apparently.
But why?
I
It's
don't
because he was a Richie before he became a star.
Yeah, that's true.
He already had that ego.
So John Hughes gave Chris Columbus the scripts for both Home Alone and a movie called Reach the Rock.
Yeah, it was a drama. It was about a kid, two kids drinking.
Yeah.
And like, I bet you can't swim over there. And he's like, I bet I can.
And one of them dies.
And the one that swims dies, and then the whole town's like, you're a jerk for killing that kid. And I didn't kill him, I bet him. He could have said no.
Maybe John Hughes was trying to win an Oscar or something.
And then there was this big musical number to do it.
Reach the rock. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
They're singing a Wayne Newton number all together.
So Columbus chose to direct Home Alone because he found it funnier, obviously, and liked the Christmas.
Yeah, I would not want to spend 3 months making Reach the Rock.
And I got to be honest, a Chris Columbus Reach the Rock would be even worse.
So cloying. But it would have been a much easier movie to make, probably. Home Alone is complicated.
Yeah, it is. It is. Columbus did an uncredited rewrite of the script, which included the character Old Man Marley. He added him in.
Old Man Marley.
Yeah.
What you gonna do, son?
Made him shovel the whole time.
Kill my soul.
He added the character to give the story more serious layers, or a more emotional ending. Because that's what Chris Columbus is all about.
He's about forced saccharine emotion. He's like diabetes of movies. He just infects it with his sugary disease.
Yeah. Yes. I'm just, again, not a big Chris Columbus fan. Although I do love Home Alone. And it's, he peaked, and then he's done.
So everybody's got their thing.
Yeah. So John Hughes suggested they cast Macaulay Culkin as Kevin because he had worked with him on Uncle Buck.
Hilarious on Uncle Buck.
Great movie.
Man, I wanted a big pancake.
Okay, well, Thanksgiving's coming up. Somebody's going to get a big pancake for
I
breakfast.
don't even like pancakes,
I don't
but I
either.
just like the concept of a giant pancake. Or pancakes. Uncle Buck would have been an awesome uncle to have.
Oh,
Faults and all, baby.
Oh, yeah. Columbus met with 200 other actors for the part, as he felt it was his quote-unquote directorial responsibility.
What a waste of time. If you
know,
already
I know.
want the kid, what a waste of freaking time.
And
Money.
100%.
No wonder you went over budget, you beehole. You already have the kid, and you still take the time to see 200 other kids because you got some sort of integrity BS? Come on, man.
I can just see John Hughes being like, God damn it, what did I say?
Just pick. We have the kid, dude. No. I've only seen 100. I'm going to need to see 100 more.
Well, one of those 100 more was apparently John Mulaney, but his parents said no, he could not do the part. They didn't want him to be in the movie.
Would have been very dry. Would have been drinking martinis and snorting cocaine.
So Columbus finally met with Culkin, and he agreed he was the right choice, which we all knew from the very beginning. Robert De Niro and John Lovitz actually turned down the role of Harry.
Would have loved to see Robert De Niro, but De Niro didn't really do a lot of comedy at that point. I think
Not at this point. It
was
wasn't
a Midnight Run, right?
And he was definitely the straight man. So like
it was still a comedy, and he was still funny.
That's true. And I guess he doesn't really play the straight man. But that was, yeah. I
If
agree.
he would have,
I agree.
he pretty much hit comedy hard with Meet the Parents, right?
So, yeah, that's where it kind of started. Where he was only doing comedy.
Yeah, he would have hit. This would have hit his comedy button, and he would have been hitting comedy starting now because this would have been. I mean, he would have been amazing. And he and Joe Pesci, if you got the two of them playing the bandits, I mean, it would have been. I love Daniel Stern; he was great, and they were both great together. But Pesci and De Niro would have just been.
De Niro was going for.
I know, but they could have moved Pesci. I mean, it's not like it mattered. It's like
true.
They could have had them, change it around a little bit.
Taller than the other.
Yeah, it'd be like a Goodfellas reunion with the wet bandits. With the wet bandits?
Wet bandits, yeah.
With the wet dream bandits.
Oh, no.
Come and sleep in your bed and leave you a little present.
Although I will say that the same way that you would love to have seen De Niro, I would love to have seen John Lovitz in the part.
I don't know. Hey, I'm a wet bandit. And scene! Ho ho!
That's perfect. That is him in the part. But Joe Pesci accepted it. The role of Uncle Frank was actually written for Kelsey Grammer.
Weird.
Which was really weird.
It's such a small part.
Yeah. I had to rewatch it again because I was like, which one's Uncle Frank?
He was the glassy-eyed,
he was the kind of annoying,
jerk. Hey, Kevin, we better get to the call, Kevin. Another guy who's probably doing cocaine with John Mulaney.
Yeah. The part was given to Gary Bamman.
If they were on that movie, John Mulaney
would have been.
They would have been coking it.
He would have gone to rehab much earlier in his life. Daniel Stern was cast as Marv, but before shooting started, he was told that the production schedule had been extended from 6 weeks to 8, and he dropped out because they told him they weren't going to change his salary.
Well, good for him.
He was like, absolutely not. I'm not
you,
working
man.
more.
I don't work extra for free.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Hollywood and making movies that sucks the bee.
Yeah.
With the butt. Is that in no other industry are people like, you know what? We'll maybe pay you afterwards.
Yeah.
Why don't you do the job?
Do it. Do the job.
And then you may or may not be paid after. Probably not.
Yeah.
But if you do get paid, you could get paid a ton of money if this is successful. Or why don't you do this one for free?
It's a good exposure.
And then I'm going to pay you for the next few. But you got to do this one for free. It's just like plumbers, like, hey, why don't you come and install my bathroom for free? And then, when I put in another bathroom, I'm going to pay you double. No, the plumber would be like, screw you. It's just we're all a bunch of insecure. We just want to do stuff. So, yeah, okay, whatever you say.
I know. Yeah, that's Hollywood. So Daniel Roebuck was actually hired to replace him.
Ugh, I do not like Daniel Roebuck.
Well, apparently no one on set did either, because after 2 days, they fired him.
Yeah, because he has no chemistry with anyone. He's just Roebuck. He played Jane Leno, I think, in the movie about the late night wars.
Oh yeah.
With Michael Higgins, I think, played Letterman. He's just like this big weird.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he got a career, man. I just don't know,
Yeah. Roebuck later said that although he was upset to be fired from the production, he now believed the experience was a quote-unquote little blip of unimportance.
Just like his career.
Chris Farley.
I'm mean today. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'm in a mean mood. Daniel Roebuck, I'm sure, is a very fine person. And if you're listening, Daniel, during your shift at Bumpy's restaurant, as the manager, just know.
The night shift manager.
You were good on Lost. Wasn't he on Lost or something?
He was on Lost.
Yeah, you were fine on Lost.
Chris Farley actually auditioned for the role of the Santa Claus impersonator, but he failed to impress Chris Columbus.
F you, Chris Columbus. Good Lord. Just everything about today's show makes me loathe Chris Columbus even more.
Welcome to my world.
Chris Farley was a genius. He would have stole the show. He would have just, he would have been like, let's go see that Santa Claus movie.
That's it. Chris Columbus turns to the casting director and is like, no one upstages Chris Columbus.
I don't see him.
John Candy was available for only 1 day to film his scene, so they shot for 23 hours.
John Candy is a mensch. Every story about John Candy is just about how accommodating and awesome and sweet and wonderful and incredible to work with he was. That broke my heart when he passed.
Yes.
I mean, that guy was just... He was just starting to do some really interesting stuff, like JFK and...
Yeah, he was starting to get into some serious... like,
drama stuff.
Serious side of...
His little scene, if you haven't seen JFK, which I love that movie, it's fantasy, pure fiction. It's like Lord of the Rings in terms of accuracy, but I love that movie. And his little part in that movie is so awesome. John Candy, so sad.
Yeah, very sad. He was only paid $414 since he did it as a favor to John Hughes.
Yeah, that was scale at the time.
In return, he was the only actor Hughes allowed to go off script, and according to Chris Columbus, all of his dialogue was improvised.
Yeah, because he's hilarious. You ever watch him on SCTV? The guy's a comic genius.
Yeah, oh,
he was
absolute
a
genius.
sketch and He was a sketch and improvisational genius.
Genius. All right, let's stop. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about the filming.
Hey, look, when you get to the chopper, you got to listen to the Gen X Files with Jim and Adam. Oh, it is really sexy, and it says good things about good people. Yes, do push-ups. Now it's fun to bite.
New episodes every Friday. All celebrity voices are poorly impersonated. Filming.
So principal photography took place from February 14th, 1990 to May 8th, 1990 over a course of 83 days.
That is a long effing shoot, man.
Yeah.
That is like 4 times as long as a normal shoot. Usually you get in and out in 6 weeks if it's a good production. If it's a big movie, 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
But
83 days is
83 days, especially for like a little comedy.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't such a little comedy. It was complicated. There was a lot of complicated action sequences and things.
Yeah.
The house exterior scenes were filmed on location at a 3-story single-family house located at 671 Lincoln Avenue in the North Shore village of Winnetka, Illinois. And if you live there right now, I apologize for giving out your address on air. It may look familiar as John Hughes' previous films, The Breakfast Club.
It's information that's
Ferris Bueller's-
readily
I know.
available. It wasn't like you doxed them.
I know. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, She's Having a Baby, and Uncle Buck were also shot there.
Good Lord, he must have owed that guy money. Because
Yeah.
you get a lot of money for
Yes.
using your house as a location. So that guy was just like, yeah, you doing another movie? Hey, John Hughes, you doing another movie?
Yeah.
I got this house ready for you. Good, you want to use it again? I'll put a coat of paint on it.
The only interiors of the house used for filming in the film were the main staircase, the basement, the attic, and most of the first floor landing. So they built a soundstage for the interiors in the gym of an empty swimming pool of the former New Trier High School building.
Brr?
Yeah. They I assumed they shot it in L.A., like the interiors in L.A., but they
shot it in a
Illinois.
swimming pool?
So they built the interiors inside of a swimming pool, an empty swimming pool.
How big was this? It must have been an Olympic-sized
A very
swimming
big
pool.
swimming pool. New Trier High School, at one point, I think, was the largest high school in the country.
And it was abandoned?
Yeah. I mean, they built a new one, a bigger one.
A bigger one?
My roommate, my freshman year in college, went to New Trier High School. Previously used by Hughes for Uncle Buck and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, they had actually the production company set up in the offices of the former New Trier High School building. So,
that makes sense.
So he was using it, yeah. They shot Angels with Filthy Souls, the title of which parodies the 1938 crime film Angels with Dirty Faces, the little movie within the movie.
Yeah, you filthy animals.
They shot that over 1 day on the final test day prior to the official start of principal photography.
Yeah, well, all it is a dude just sitting there saying stuff and then standing up. It's like one shot. And then he grabs a machine gun and he shoots.
There's a couple of inserts. Yeah, they shot it.
Slip it under the door.
He specifically shot it with black and white negative film to make it look like an old 40s gangster movie. It was shot with low wide angles, which would capture the action as if a child were perceiving it.
Johnny's office.
Cinematographer Julio Macat recalled that Pesci was more difficult to work with than Culkin.
Yeah, he was that's another thing. Joe Pesci also seems like a guy that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can pay a lot of money to do a dream job.
Yeah.
And he was so pissed off because he couldn't play golf in the morning.
Yeah. That was he resented the early unit calls. It prevented him to do the 9 holes of golf he played every day.
Good exercise.
After he took the assistant director by the collar and shook him and complained about it, the call times were moved from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. to accommodate his golf.
I'm sorry. Joe Pesci is a little dude. It would be like having a little terrier grabbing your ankles, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody's scared of Joe Pesci.
Yeah. I mean,
He just plays a gangster. He's not a real gangster. He's just a little guy who's like got a little guy's attitude.
on the other end of the schedule, the crew had limited time to film.
I am sorry I'm being so mean. I love Joe Pesci as an actor. I love all the stuff that he does.
You are embodying Joe Pesci right now.
I am. I don't like him. I gotta go.
It impacted, and maybe part of the reason they had 83 days because they couldn't shoot later than 10 p.m. due to Culkin and child actor laws.
Yeah, if your star is a 10-year-old child or a 7-year-old child, I don't know how old
9,
is he?
I think he was 9.
9? Yeah, you only have a certain amount of time that you can shoot. He has to have schooling. He has to have rest. You know, it's like, oh, thanks, Jackie Coogan, for ruining child labor. No, so it does take a long time. I mean, that's the one thing about having a child.
Yeah.
You know, making movies about kids takes a lot longer because you just don't have you can't abuse them like you can adults.
The movie that I worked on a movie in Des Moines that was my catapult to working here. When I came out to LA, I literally the second day I was working on House, like because people I worked with on this movie, this little indie movie in the middle of Iowa. 3 things I learned from that movie: don't ever shoot with kids, don't ever shoot with animals, don't ever shoot with old people, because they are nightmares.
There goes my movie. Old Randy, Little Johnny, and Peanut the dog.
It was the animals are actually the easiest to work with.
Depending on what kind of animal.
Yeah. It was dogs, 3 dogs. There were 17 people in this movie.
Well, animals have trainers.
Yes.
Kids don't have trainers. They have parents or tutors.
Helicopter moms.
But they don't. But you can't just give it a treat and then put it in a crate.
No, if only.
Scenes.
If only.
Jackie Coogan, you ruined it.
God damn you! So on the set, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern both had difficulty refraining from swear words.
Oh, yeah.
Which became really annoying to Joe Pesci. Because Pesci's use of what they called cartoon cursing garnered comparisons to Looney Tunes character Yosemite Sam.
My biscuits are burning.
Yeah, that was totally Yosemite Sam.
100%.
But that was what was great about it. It totally fit because it was the same crazy, horrific, violent, cartoonish action from like...
It worked really well.
Yeah, it was the Three Stooges. It was Bugs Bunny. It was Daffy Duck getting his beak shut off. You know, it was all insane.
Yeah. Do you know the only swear word that made it into the film?
Chant.
Yes, and it happened accidentally when Daniel Stern, his shoe fell through the doggy door.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because literally nothing was happening. It's just his shoe. They get hit in the face. They get bashed around. Never once did they swear.
No.
Just when he dropped his shoe.
Hey, yeah, he loved those shoes.
The film's stunts also created tension for the crew during shooting. Columbus said,
Every time the stunt guy did one of those stunts, it wasn't funny. We would watch it, and I would just pray that the guys were alive.
he literally thought they were going to die every time.
Chris Columbus, how...
Oh my god. It does not help with my hatred of Chris Columbus.
Yeah, the stunts are... If you watch, like, the guy just fall on his back, you know, when he slips on the ice, those stunts are the ones that are so crazy, you know?
And they originally prepared them with safety harnesses, but because of their visibility on camera, most of the final stunts were performed without them. So, like, all of that is real. Like, that dude falling on his back, and it looks like it hurts.
And it did. Yeah, that guy got hurt. How many people got hurt?
143.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
You didn't look it up,
nobody.
did you?
No, nobody got
kidding.
hurt. That was the thing. Nobody actually got hurt.
Wow.
The only person that got hurt.
No, you know who got... Yeah, you know who got hurt? Macaulay Culkin got hurt.
Culkin.
When
one person that got hurt.
When they hang him up on the coat rack.
Yeah.
And they're
When they
yelling
finally
at him,
catch
and he's
him.
like, "I'm gonna bite your fingers off. I'm gonna bite all your fingers off." during rehearsal, he bit Macaulay Culkin's finger so hard that it drew blood, and little Macaulay Culkin lost his little mind and was like, "What are you doing?"
Just see him freaking out.
What are you talking about? I didn't bite him. What are you talking about? I could just see Joe Pesci too, being like, "I'm not gonna get dressed down by a 9-year-old fucking kid." You know, it's smoking a cigar.
That was for the best impression you've ever done.
But it's like, I would love to have said, they have to have it.
I'm
No, it was
sure.
rehearsal.
It was, but they might have been filming rehearsal. I mean,
maybe.
back in the day, I don't know. I mean, it's not as easy as it is
But
now.
I mean, come on, Joe. You don't bite a child. There is no justification for biting a little boy.
No, he's one of those old. He's like
I don't mean to be controversial here.
He's like
but
Brenda,
you shouldn't bite
Brenda,
children.
What's her name? They were the old school actors. It was like, hey, this is what we do, you know.
No. There's no old school actors that bit children.
When you
for
slap
real.
somebody, you slap somebody.
Yeah, but you don't bite when you bite. You don't need to rip their flesh off to make it look real. Good Lord. And that was you're talking about a low budget, get in a car movie, a $10,000 car horror movie,
yeah.
not a
I
$14
know.
million,
18
million Hollywood blockbuster with
No, you're right.
Joe
You're right.
finger biting.
You don't bite kids. I mean, come on, that should be an unsaid rule. No one needs to be told anybody except Joe Pesci that you don't bite children. And then the tarantula that walked on Stern's face in that regard was also real. It was not a mechanical tarantula.
I did this movie. I worked for Roger Corman, and I had so many jobs on this movie, and one of my jobs was tarantula wrangler because everybody was just scared S-less of these tarantulas.
Oh, really?
And we had this gag. I did all the effects, too, for this movie. Like, I did this gag where I wrapped some filament around a cactus, and I shook it, you know, so the cactus was alive. And then I put this thing in the cactus to make it, like, explode up. Yeah.
To fart really
Yeah.
loud.
And then from the cactus, all these tarantulas are supposed to land on this guy.
Oh.
And the whole thing was, you can't put the tarantulas next to each other. Tarantulas are fine, but if you put them close to each other, they'll fight and then they'll get you. So I gave I couldn't do all of the tarantulas myself. So I gave all the other people, there were 5 of us with tarantulas. And the other people, they're in cups. They're in 2 Dixie cups. You know, one on top of another. This is so low budget, right?
Hollywood.
So they're so scared. And I'm like, on the count of 3, toss your tarantulas on him. And the poor, this is an actor, by the way, not a stuntman. This is the actor.
God.
And so 1, 2, 3, and they throw it, but they chuck it in a way because they're so scared that all the tarantulas land in a clump, and they're just like, it's like Fight Club on this poor son of a gun. And then he gets them off, and then everybody scatters, and then I spend like 15 minutes scooping up tarantulas.
Oh, God.
Mad tarantulas, by the way, that are all peed off from fighting. So I did this all day, and the poor guy got like bit, or I don't know whatever they do to you. He got it a lot, to the point where we had to. He couldn't film anymore because he was feeling horrible.
Did Corman just replace him halfway through, and it's just a new actor?
He just shot something else until he got better, which was a few hours. You know, they still kept him on. They didn't send him home or anything.
Oh, no, they kept him around.
Just in case he gets better, because we were at Vasquez Rocks. And then at the end of the shoot, I had to take all the tarantulas back and these snakes and stuff. And so I'm driving in my little car, and I got like 15, 20 boxes filled with tarantulas and snakes.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, man, if I flip this car, this is going to, it's just going, it's just freaking me out. But I got them. They're all safe and sound. But yeah, tarantulas.
Is that even illegal? I mean, shouldn't they have had a professional wrangler or whatever?
Yeah, probably. I guess there was a guy there, but he didn't do anything.
He was just like, it's up to you, kid.
He was like the pet shop representative, because we literally bought them from a pet shop and then returned them like 2 days later. Yeah, because that's how you make a lot of money in this business, by cutting every corner you can.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, man,
it's crazy. All right.
I'm not afraid of spiders.
Oh, no, I'm not either. I mean, tarantulas were fine. Obviously, Daniel Stern wasn't either. But
we had wild tarantulas where I grew up. I used to. My friend's dad had this. I think I've talked about this before. He had this avocado/pig farm in Escondido.
No, I don't think you've
all these
talked about
acres,
this
and we
before.
go ride our 3-wheelers there, and
the
we drive a
three-wheelers,
truck and stuff. But they had tarantulas,
like
there.
wild tarantulas. Yeah.
And those suckers jump, man. And I did not know this at first because I was like, oh, it's tarantula. And it was about 3 feet away, and I poked it with a stick, and that thing went and just beep, and I was, and then it didn't really do anything. Then I thought it was cool. Then we just kind of like catch them and play with them and stuff. But
some of them jump, not all of them do. Some of them are strictly land dwellers, but but they're still fast. Whew, they're fast.
Yeah. Stay tuned for a tarantula show.
It was a very long speed bump. So Senta Moses, who played Tracy, one of the kids.
Yes.
I think she was the one that the parents were in France.
Maybe.
No, Tracy's the sister, Kevin's sister.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember. There's like 15 kids.
Yeah. They're all in the beginning when they're all ignoring the police officer, Joe Pesci. Nobody. I've had a cop in my house a couple of times. Sure. I did not ignore that man.
No.
I would want to know why that police officer is standing in my home uninvited and unannounced.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't show it. Nobody just let him in. Like, he was just standing there.
He's just like, hello, hey, what do your parents say?
Why didn't they just wear cop uniforms and rob the place? It seems like it would be a lot easier.
It doesn't go with the Wet Bandit brand, Adam.
So, okay, we'll get back to my philosophical questions.
Because it's also easier just to break in when people aren't home.
No, 100%. I mean, the large majority of break-ins happen when
they'd be the
there.
cop bandits.
But I'm saying is that they should have worn the cop uniforms anyway, because then if people come in, they're like, yeah, we heard, it's like we're here on official business. People immediately are like, oh, yeah, okay.
Then why do you have all these bags and flashlights?
We're Santa Claus, too.
Okay. There's flaws in your reasoning there, buddy.
Yeah, there is.
This is why you get caught every time you try to rob something.
That's true.
You're always trying to brand us.
I'm 0 for 109.
We're the big butt bandits. We put our butt prints on everything when we rob. That didn't work out well, did it?
No.
Because our DNA got on it. We got caught for that one.
Well, you used your empty butt.
Then,
or your bare butt.
Then we were the booger bandits. We were wrapping boogers
bandits,
bandits.
Booger bandits.
And then we're wrapping boogers on everything. DNA again, man. You're short-sighted. I'm not going to let you pick our robbery name anymore.
All right. That's fine. You give us our signature. That's fine.
We're going to be the roustabout robbers.
All right. So Senta Moses, who played Tracy, she recalled in 2020 that one of the most difficult scenes to shoot was the family's run through O'Hare International Airport to catch their flight. It required several days to film. There were hundreds of extras, and people would fall down all the time. She said that they think every single one of them got hurt during this 3-day sequence. Yeah, the actors would fall down because they were running.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they should be more careful. They were probably exhausted.
Maybe they shouldn't have been late.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Those are the days that are the worst. You're like,
yeah,
running days, or just.
I'm sorry, we're doing this for 3 days.
Yeah, and you're just running, and man.
So Columbus initially hoped to have Bruce Broughton score the film, and early posters listed him as the composer.
Really? Bruce Broughton?
Bruce Broughton.
What has he done?
He was busy with The Rescuers Down Under, and he had to cancel the last minute. So Broughton actually won an Emmy for scoring 5 episodes of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
Nice.
Hey. Hey, guys. Colonel Wilma Deering here. It took me a second to get from the 25th
Colonel
century.
Wilma Deering, how's it going?
Hey, it's good. Things are really cool in the 25th century. Twiggy, he's all doing good, and Buck and I are kind of flirting, but we don't know.
What brings you by?
Oh, I just want to say, that guy did a really cool 5 episodes of scoring. It was a lot of disco and a lot of like Jupiter Jeeps, and he deserved that Emmy. I just want to say it. Hey guys, go back 25th century now.
Thanks, bye. Yeah, he actually was he's been nominated for like 20 Emmys.
Really?
This guy, I was surprised. I was like, wow, I've never heard of this guy.
Neither have I. I love it. Under the radar.
So Columbus was later able to get...
I apologize for making fun of him now that I knew his pedigree.
Yeah. Columbus was later able to get in touch with Steven Spielberg, who helped him contact John Williams to produce the final score.
Who's that?
I don't know. Some guy.
What else has he done?
I will say John Williams does not have as many Emmy nominations as Bruce Broughton does.
No, he has 750 Oscars, though. John Williams has a home made of Oscars.
They're like bricks. There's so many,
It's drafty. Because it's like Oscars aren't very good.
He really should have laid them opposite, but he didn't.
Yeah, he's like, look, I'll get more. I'll fill in the gaps.
Yeah. Just another 30 films. I'll have another 800.
I just do another score, I'll win another Oscar. Score an Oscar. He's just, it's got to be boring for him at this point. He probably tries to lose. He's like, I'm going to put a couple of sour notes in here just to give somebody else a chance.
And the world thinks it's genius.
Yes.
All right, let's take another quick break, and then we're going to talk about the legacy and all the many sequels.
Hey, this is Red John Lennon. And I just want to say, whenever I'm outside of the communists, I'm listening to the Gen X5 with Jimmy Lennon. His name was Spotify. They took his legs.
New episodes every Friday. All celebrity voices are poorly impersonated. Legacy.
Home Alone grossed a worldwide total box office of $476.7 million.
That's a lot more than $18 million.
That is a lot more. In fact, it pretty much made its production budget back in the first weekend.
Nice.
It spent 12 consecutive weeks as the number one movie before spending another 12 weeks in the top 10.
That's how it was back then, baby. Movies, well, this is a little bit past that, but movies would run for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be, in the 80s and 90s, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for a movie to hit the top of the box office for months. And then,
yeah, totally. Yeah, it's not like it is now. It actually made 2 more top 10 appearances after it left in June of 1991. And then, 1991, sorry. It finally left the theaters after running for 9 months.
Well, it had to give birth to its baby.
Yeah.
It got pregnant right before it started
Right.
to run. And then, it was Joe Pesci.
All right. It was Joe Pesci. The film is listed in the Guinness World Records as the highest-grossing live-action comedy ever, and held the record until it was overtaken by The Hangover Part 2 in 2011.
Strangely enough, it was also the record for the most children's fingers bit, and that was also broken by The Hangover Part 2.
That actually works on many levels. That was very good, Jim. Nice. By the time the film had run its course in theaters, Home Alone was the 3rd highest grossing film of all time worldwide, as well as in the United States and Canada, behind only Star Wars and E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Yeah, nice.
Which Star Wars was actually behind E.T. E.T. was the highest grossing movie of all time for a while until Star Wars started getting re-releases and stuff.
Yeah, it was like Spielberg and Lucas kept being, I'm going to put my movie out again. I'm going to put my movie out again. And then they just battled for the top of the box office until old Jimmy Cameron came by and was like, I'm going to drop this old Titanic on y'all. I'm gonna ruin it.
Yeah. And didn't
Avatar
make a ton of money too?
Yeah, that's so weird. I got to just speed bump this for one second. I know a lot of people talk about this, but I liked Avatar. I saw Avatar in like IMAX 3D. It was like one of the first 3D movies I saw, and I was like blown away by the 3D. I could not give you a synopsis of that movie. I could not tell you who was in that movie besides Sigourney Weaver. Apparently, there's like 3 sequels coming out. The movie was made like 30 years ago.
No, it wasn't 30 years ago. It was like 2009.
And the sequels aren't slated to come out until 2065. So it's like,
all 3 at the same time, just drop them.
Well, it's like Lucy and the Football with these sequels. It's like James Cameron's like, oh, they're coming. They're still coming. But does anybody want them anymore?
Didn't anybody want them in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a weird.
Was it a movie that screamed I need a sequel?
It's such a forgettable. It wasn't a bad movie. I think I liked it.
I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it.
But it's baffling how forgettable that movie is.
It would be like watching
the highest grossing movie of all time. Everybody's just like, eh.
Maybe that's why. Maybe people kept going back because they forgot they had seen it.
Yeah, it's like, wait, there's some blue guys in it, and they stick their umbilical cords into some things. I don't know.
And obviously the film made Macaulay Culkin a child star
who
became huge.
He just disappeared after that.
Kieran Culkin. Oh no, sorry.
Kieran Culkin is a really good actor.
Yeah.
All the little Culkin boys, they're Culkin really men now, but they're all really good actors.
Kieran's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one?
Yeah, sorry, I forget his name, but he's really good too. Every once in a while, there comes along a child actor that just kind of transcends everything and is very adult, like Macaulay Culkin, like Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah.
Like Dakota
Fanning.
Fanning.
Yeah.
You know, these little Shirley Temple, if you want to go all the way back.
Jackie Coogan, you bastard.
You know, but these kids are stars, are just these fully baked
Yeah.
artists that are so good and so tapped into what they do that they're just phenomenal. And I think people kind of glom on to these kids because they're so, it's like these movies portray the children you would want. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even though
100%.
Even though the little McAllister boy is a little pain in the ass, a little smart alecky jerk at the beginning, he learns his lesson along the way. You know?
But he's a smart kid.
Well, yeah, he's smart
a
enough
really
to
intelligent kid.
Okay, let's just talk about the movie for a second.
Sure.
Okay. So we got this family of 1,000 apparently.
Yeah.
There's so many of them all going. And good Lord, how awful would that be, by the way? To go, they're going to Paris, right?
Imagine being on that plane.
Imagine being in that family and having to corral all those people together to go to Paris for Thanksgiving. What are you doing? That's just like, let me just put together the most, every bad idea.
They're going for Christmas, not for
Oh, okay. 6 and 1/2, man. Holiday travel, either or. Bad. To Paris. Anyway. For Christmas, who wants to be in a foreign country on Christmas, man? You want to be anyway.
Yeah. If I got on that plane as not part of the family and I saw that, I'd probably stay home.
I would start drinking right away and see if anybody had some pills. Yeah, I mean, all those kids are unruly, little Buzz, a little maniac, you know, with his tarantula and his girlfriend. You know, the girl, the picture of the girlfriend. Mm-hmm. They thought it would be so mean to use an actual picture of a girl.
Because this is his reaction, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, she's so ugly.
So it was the son of the art director.
The art director.
Okay.
They stuck him in a wig.
What's that saying to him? Hey, you ugly. Look, we don't want to make a girl look ugly, so we're going to use you in your ugly mug because boys are tough. They're going on this big, stupid vacation.
Yeah.
And... You know, they do the count. There's a kid that looks kind of like him from The Neighbor. The whole setup is kind of suspect.
They're counting, and there's a kid that's his height.
Yeah, throwing him in the van. Nobody really everybody's hustly-bustly, getting their crap together because kids are awful.
Right.
I think the reason why I don't have or want children is because of movies in the 80s and 90s, like Problem Child or Home Alone or... Damien, The Omen, or The Good Son. Ooh,
oh yeah, the Good Son.
The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin.
Evil Macaulay Culkin.
Yes, and him and little Frodo.
Oh, he's so good.
Battling for mommy's attention. Yeah, that was a good movie. Sorry, I got off topic again. Okay,
it's all right.
So, all right, they get in the car. They leave without him, right?
Yeah.
So he's left home alone. This movie wouldn't work today because of cell phones.
Yeah. There's a meme that goes around that was like, rewriting
airport security.
Oh, these calls.
Because they'd be sitting there for 2 hours in airport security, and if by that time they didn't realize the kids.
That's the other thing too, is that even still, like, they didn't check again to make sure everybody got through security. Like,
they just ran, and
they were late. And
where was the ticket? Like, who? I don't know. It's just yes. Okay, so
I mean, this is the same kid that like freaked out when they were like, "Go pack, we're leaving," and he's like, "What?"
Pack? Yeah, that's the weirdest.
It's a weird.
Like we started watching
Chris Columbus.
Yes, Chris Columbus. Yeah, so the kid gets left home alone, and he's scared, but then he decides he's got to be a man.
He's gonna be an adult.
The most fun about it is watching him, to pretend to be an adult. Do the things.
That's the whole thing, is that he wishes this would happen, and then they're gone. And it's like, all right.
Careful what you wish for.
I got the thing, and now I have to man up and be the man of the house.
But it's the charisma of Macaulay Culkin. If any other kid, 100%. Except for maybe John Maloney with his martinis and cocaine. John Mulaney. It rides on liking that kid so much that you want to watch him just slap cologne on his face, or
you want to watch
dance
him be
around,
an adult,
or jump on the thing. Yeah.
I mean, the scene when he goes and buys the groceries and he's being so adult, and the cashier is like,
"Oh, just for me."
Yeah, like it's it's cute. It's like, okay, but then
here come the wet paint. It's
the wet paint show up.
That I watched this. I don't know what it is. I hate not giving credit, but there was a show I think it might have been on Netflix or something, that basically showed everything in Home Alone, like what would really happen. This was a show that like kind of, it was like a Mythbusters kind of thing, which debunked.
And broke
it was
down.
like,
Yeah.
that basically ran through every gag in
yeah,
Home
yeah.
Alone and showed what the actual damage human carnage would
How
be.
they would have been died like
like
85
with
times.
really graphic, X-ray
yeah,
vision,
yeah. The skull being crushed.
As the paint can crushes the skull. It was horrifying.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Yeah, I
what would
remember.
happen.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. It'll give you nightmares. But it was, man, the stuff that they go through, I will have to say, some of the best modern physical comedy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You got to go back to like Buster Keaton, and you got to go back to the masters of the silent era, because those were the best physical comedians ever.
Yeah. 100%.
But this, man, I don't think there has been. Name me another slapstick movie other than this in the last 30 years that you remember.
For the pure slapstick, it would have to be like Jim Carrey or something. I mean, like it's and even then it's still not really, 'cause
Right.
he's kind of being gross and weird.
He's just talking out of his butt.
Yeah.
He's not like, or
He's not doing this kind of like falling on his back. And
getting hit in the
potentially
face with paint
breaking.
cans,
Yeah.
slipping on micro machines.
I collected micro machines just for this purpose.
Nice.
Just
in case. Yeah, because you lived in serial killer
I
country
did,
in
I
Iowa,
did,
because that's what
yeah.
you were afraid of. They weren't afraid of robbers. You were afraid of somebody putting you under the floorboards. We talked a little earlier about the old man.
Yeah, the old man.
Old man O'Malley or
Old
Murphy.
man, yeah,
Or whatever his
he
name
was
is.
in a lot of movies. Crazy old man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's give him a go.
The scene with him and Kevin in the church is brilliant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Why don't you see your daughter?
I don't really have it.
Well, that seems dumb. Why
Yeah.
didn't you call her?
Yeah,
There's one thing under the bridge.
Why don't you just do it?
yeah.
You're a pesky little girl, don't you?
Yeah,
was just such a
it's-
cute little
it's brilliant.
scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And surprisingly not super cloying for old Mr. Columbus.
Well, he's trying to ride that pony and get that
This
natural
is the
high.
least kind of saccharine cloying of his
100%,
movies, I would say. I mean, he tried to jam it in there, but he also had the John Hughes guiding hand,
Right.
who is a great master of comedy, and there's a definite brand to him. And I think
Yes.
Columbus and Hughes worked well together because they balanced each
Yeah.
other out.
But that scene was 100% Hughes.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yes. And it was Hughes controlling Columbus, because if it was Columbus, there would have been like crying and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some sort of like...
Getting up and walking away and coming back.
Yes.
It's like, oh,
Yes, but it was really fun, and I love. We talked about this a lot during the horror movie month, but I love these little self-contained movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Because as a kid, I really liked stuff that like where the kid was the hero, where you had to
Yeah.
adventure, like James and the Giant Peach or something,
Right,
I
right.
loved it because his name was James, but also that he traveled like a giant peach, and it was just like, I loved stuff. It was the kids doing something adulty, the
Yeah.
adults not really believing them or knowing it. It was like a secret world. Like I love secret world stuff, and even though this isn't necessarily a secret world, it kind of was, because
Yeah.
he created this little world, these little booby traps and everything.
Yeah,
and
He was convinced this was it now. His family was gone.
right, it's just so sadistic, man. It's such a just
He does-
gleefully sadistic
He gets
movie,
very, oh my,
and
like taunting. And
yeah,
yeah.
all this crap was going on
Yeah.
at home, and then finally, Mama
They realize.
is like,
yeah.
Kevin.
I quote that so much.
Everybody does. She has to get from Paris back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
America to get her kid. And her journey, too, is one, like, I relate more to her journey now than I did
Yeah.
when I
Well,
was
yeah,
watching
yeah.
it, because I was a young man.
Sure.
I'm not a parent now. I don't have those instincts, but if the cat was left home alone, I know that I would want to get back here to save her. But just the desperation and everything she goes through.
And it's
And
my favorite moment in the movie is everything's fine at the end and she shows up and then the family comes in right behind. She took all that
Yeah,
time
and
and
they
it was
still
like
got
they
there
just
at
had
the
to
same
get
time.
on the next plane.
Pretty easy. But the scene, we talked about how John Candy was only in it for a day.
Yeah.
But that scene is integral
So
to the movie.
brilliant.
And it just lets her off the hook.
Yeah.
Because, bad parents. Leaving your kid home alone.
Yeah.
There's no neighbors they can call to come over. And,
Yeah.
everybody's out of town.
Everyone's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ghost town.
Can't call the cops and
Yeah.
be like, my kid's home?
Did they call the cops? Didn't she
I think
try?
they did. They did try, yeah.
And then
something I don't remember specifically.
Maybe. I don't know.
The cops did come by, and he had the party thing going on. So the cop was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, they're not going to believe the mom
Yeah.
that
No,
said,
no.
my son's home alone, so they're just going to look in the window.
It was a breakdown of communication.
Cops, man. Chicago cops.
But the scene, also going back to John Candy and how he has that moment. It's very John Hughes moment, but they have that great conversation.
Yeah.
And it's John Candy not being funny, like
Yeah.
he's just being earnest.
He's being funny,
and
but
sincere,
funny and realist.
Yeah, yeah. It's
funny in
such
reality.
a great scene, and you're right. It lets her off the hook. It's like you're not, it happens.
It gives her a pause.
Things happen.
She needed a pause out of that manic, performance.
She's so good in the movie.
She's so good in
so
everything.
fantastic.
She's great. I mean, the parents are great. Everybody in that movie was great. Somehow this completely ridiculous, over the top, farcical, fanciful, unrealistic, ridiculous movie is just this heartwarming, awesome chunk of entertainment glee.
It is fantastic, and it is the best movie to watch at Thanksgiving. It gets you into the Christmas spirit.
Exactly. That's why I say it's a Thanksgiving movie, because it kicks off the holiday season.
Well.
And I don't know if it's still the same way. I don't go to theaters as much, movie theater, the cinema. But Thanksgiving was the big day. It wasn't as big. Christmas wasn't as big as Thanksgiving back in the day.
For me, it was always Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas was the day that I went and saw movies.
Yeah, everybody did, but Thanksgiving I don't think is as much as it is now because everybody goes shopping. Black Friday wasn't a big deal back then, so Thanksgiving was a huge, huge movie day, and that's how you kicked off the holiday movie season. Was the big releases on Thanksgiving, and this one kicked off a really great season of movies that year.
Yeah.
And I just always think of this. I like to watch it around Thanksgiving because I like to kick off the holidays with it. Mm-hmm. And it just brings back memories of a really great Thanksgiving for me with great food and great friends and a great place. And it's all tied together. So that's why instead of putting it, and our Christmas shows are going to be a little bit different than what a normal Christmas thing would be. So, it wouldn't really fit in, but it's such an awesome movie. And now let's talk about something not so awesome. The franchise.
We're going to glaze over the franchise. Yeah. There were 4 sequels. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York was released in 1992.
Which was fine. Which was good.
It was interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. Macaulay Culkin was paid $4.5 million to appear in the sequel.
Yeah, well, he was
compared to the $110,000 he made for the first movie.
The guy was the biggest star at the time. There's, it's the same thing with Haley Joel Osment. There's, like I said, not only are these kids capturing the minds of everybody, they're also the biggest stars of the year or the era. These kids are like
huge.
Yeah, they're Tom Hanks.
A third film, Home Alone 3, was released in 1997.
Donald Trump was not in
it. It has
that movie.
entirely different actors and characters, as well as a different storyline. Although Hughes did write the screenplay for it. Raja Gosnell, who edited both the first 2 movies, directed it. It made money. It made about $80 million off a $32 million budget.
The kid was cute. He was kind of the it boy of the time.
Yeah.
The robbers, there were like these 3. I think they might have been European.
Yeah, something like that.
They wore these little white outfits, and they were kind of more organized. I don't know what their deal was, what they were stealing, what kind of bandits they were.
The only other real notable part of it is that the sister was played by Scarlett Johansson.
ScarJo.
A 4th made-for-TV film followed in 2002, Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House. The movie features...
No.
It has some of the same characters who were in the first 2 movies.
None of the same actors playing them.
New cast, new storyline. Essentially, Kevin's dad is divorcing his mother and moving into his new extremely wealthy girlfriend's house.
F you guys, man. I mean,
way to just ruin the entire franchise.
The whole point of a family getting together and a family coming together. That's the whole thing about the first one. It's not about the bandits and it's not about the robberies. It's about a family that was kind of fractured, a kid that was bratty and needed to grow up, that in the growth that this family had a mother that needed to give a kid some independence. Yeah. And all this thing came together. That was the core of the story. All the other stuff just helped move it along.
Right,
It
right.
had heart. There was
Yeah,
a heart.
yeah.
When you rip out the heart,
Yes, exactly.
then there's nothing beating, and it's just a zombie monster of crap. I know that they wanted to do at some point a sequel, what it was going to be Kevin's kid.
Kevin, yeah, and have him cameo.
Yeah, and have him be the parent that leaves the kid home alone.
Right.
Which would have been so funny because it's just like, I can't believe I did what my mom did.
Yeah.
It would have been excellent.
All right, well, we're out of time, so enjoy the beginning of your Thanksgiving season.
Thanks getting. It's
Thanks
getting because you're getting a lot of stuff from us.
We'll be back next week with a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special.
Yeah, blockhead.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
The beginning of the end of this. Good God. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Fantasy Island, already in progress.